This is FinTech Futures reporting from Finovate Spring, and I'm joined by Eileen Holcomb from JP Morgan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. How have you been enjoying the conference so far?
It's been wonderful. I learned so much about different topics, hearing from different fintech partners, hearing from my peers in the banking industry. I think it's been really a plethora of different pieces of information that I will take back with me, and very excited about it.
Amazing, amazing. So just to quickly get started, then we'd like to give a quick introduction to yourself and,
Sure.
and your role.
Yeah, so Eileen Holcomb, I lead strategy and transformation at JP Morgan Chase for our digital channels business for JP Morgan Payments. So that includes business planning, strategic initiatives, communications, marketing, and client engagement.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. And you were speaking earlier on a panel about open banking and banking as a service. Adoption of open banking, in particular in the US, has been a little bit slower than maybe Europe. So how would you say the banks and fintechs have been embracing kind of open banking at the moment?
Yeah, in the European market, we have definitely been focusing on it for several years. I think, like you said, in the US market, it's been a bit slower. We talked about the fact there's not really standards across all of the banks, which makes it a little bit more difficult over here, especially when you have fintechs trying to integrate with a lot of different partners here. But I think we're getting there. You see a lot of different transformational opportunities within the different banks, whether that's new developer portals or developer websites, whether it's adding more to their API portfolio, whether it's being able to develop APIs more quickly. I think, forums like this help to drive some of that thought leadership. And so over time, I think we'll just get better and faster because that's where our clients are. They want open banking initiatives, they want APIs, and we're kind of skating to where they're going.
Excellent, excellent. And what would you say are some of the key benefits then of open banking for businesses and customers?
Yeah, so I think one of the big things is it's more flexibility, right? So we talked about, being where our clients are. And so whether that's connecting to the systems they're using like ERPs or TMSs, whether it's, in other kind of different portals that they're using, we want to make sure that it's flexible based off of them. I think there's also more transparency across the environment. So open banking really provides that level of transparency and access for those that, even on the consumer side, may be underbanked. So I think it's really great in that way. And ultimately, like I mentioned, the key focus is to meet clients where they are on their journey. And so by having this transparency, this flexibility, we're able to achieve the different pieces that they want in their overall solution. And it's not the full banking stack all the time, because sometimes clients don't want all of that.
Sure. Switching to the banking of a service side of things, then what kind of growth trends have you seen in this kind of space, and what opportunities is there?
Yeah, so I think it's enabling a lot more partnerships that are occurring between the banks and the fintechs. I think it's, again, trying to take away that kind of monolithic banking architecture that we've historically had, and trying to break it down into bits and pieces that make sense for the clients or the customers or what they're using day to day. I think there's also a greater openness and sharing of data between the banks and the fintechs, and knowing that just because you own the entire value chain doesn't mean you're necessarily the winner across the client experience. Sometimes it's better to break apart that value chain, that experience, and have pieces of it be done by the best company, the best fintech, the best bank, and really make sure that you're able to provide that end-to-end experience in a number of different ways. And I think there's just more opportunities that exist for clients.
Excellent. What would you say then the future looks like for open banking and banking as a service within the industry?
Well, hopefully it's more towards standardization across the different banks. We just talked about that in the panel. I think there's going to be a lot more knowledge sharing for the fintechs, as well as understanding around like KYC and AML and different banking regulations and requirements that we need. But being able to work with fintechs, share with them what we need from a bank, they can work on, here's the different pieces that they provide and what use cases they're trying to solve for clients. I think that's the most beneficial part, because in many instances I've seen fintechs or tech companies, it's like a hammer looking for a nail. Here's what I have. can you use this? Can you use this? And that's just not the way we approach it. We look at our clients, we look at what their challenges are and try to find really specific use cases that we're going to solve. So I think as the fintech industry gets more knowledgeable around how banks work and they start doing these partnerships, because they can be quite painful. We put them through a lot of rigor as a bank, but I think over time it's going to be faster and better and more agile so that we can truly future-proof the business by utilizing data in real time to help our clients.
Excellent. Thank you, Eileen, so much for talking to us. It's been great speaking to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.
Bye.